Cologne sucks in the second half, man.
Oh, if football games were one half, Cologne would be the best team.
Fires, Mike Sims, Walker, knocked down.
Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again.
Jackson takes it himself. Look at him turn back and forth. Oh! He broke his ankles.
I have never seen this before in my life.
Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught! Denver! Unbelievable! And welcome to the fourth down fiasco!
Cologne sucks in the second half. Welcome to fourth down fiasco.
Yeah, we gotta toss that in there now. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fourth Down Fiasco, your go-to podcast for all things football. I am your host, the man who types up articles on the new Fourth Down Fiasco website, Jordan Pryor, and with me are the rising stars of the podcast industry, the man who uses SAT words in all of his articles, Tanner Vinsky, and the man who actually created the website itself, Danny Weber. Say hello to the people, y'all.
Hey.
So as always, we ask that you rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's the best way for us to be able to grow the show. We'd greatly appreciate it. We know a lot of y'all listen to us on your drive to work, but those of you who listen to us at work, you have no reason not to give us 5 stars. You're sitting at a desk right now. So, but with that, we've got a lot to dive into this week. We've got some changes going around with rosters. We've got a recap to go through and some pick'ems for this upcoming week. But with that, before we start any of that, Danny, would you like to say a little something about our new website?
Oh, so we don't have an official domain yet. It's a free website, but that's besides the point.
It's through Wix, but it's fine.
It's through Wix. It's fine. Yeah. But we're going to start writing articles about the ELF now instead of you guys listening to our voice. Maybe you just hate Jordan, like the way he sounds. So maybe you just want to read his text instead.
Thank you, Tanner.
But no, I haven't even told you guys. I tweeted it, but hopefully a little later on we can get other people to start writing as well and post on there and just trying to create a small community.
I mean, I've been looking at the DMs that you've been sending folks. I know exactly what's up.
No, yeah.
I knew who you were trying to bring on board.
No.
Yeah. It's not like we share a password to the same account or anything.
That's
but yeah, definitely go check us out on it's fourthdownfiasco.wixsites.com, right, Danny?
/home. You have to put the /home for whatever reason at the end.
Interesting. Actually, Fun fact, our parent company flagged me for trying to access our website.
Same.
Yeah, so
I got denied.
Request.
I got denied for getting on my own website.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
They're just jealous of my usage of the word Scythian.
Oh, yeah, the word Scythian? God. I don't know.
I was like reading it over before publishing it, and I was like, Jordan, look at this. I was like, what is this word?
He was like, Jordan, do you know what the word Sisyphean means? And I was like, no, but it sounds like cross-dressing. I don't know. Like I couldn't.
You guys go to church every Sunday? Come on now. It's a biblical.
I've never heard the word Sisyphean though.
I go to a very progressive church, so I don't know what Sisyphean was in Deuteronomy, but we probably don't follow that.
That's fair.
Well, let's switch it up this week since Danny, you got to talk about the website. Tanner, would you like to go through our slate of games from this last week, and then we can go one by one after you list them all off?
Yes, so last week we started the week off with Tyrol beating Barcelona 32-0. We then moved into Vienna beating Wrocław 37-25. Madrid lost to Rhine 15-40. Verivar also lost to Milano 14-19 in probably the most entertaining game ever. Helvetic lost to Stuttgart 7-50. Paris destroyed Cologne 60-25. Berlin went above Prague 34-7, and Hamburg had to come back about 15 minutes too late and fell 18-24 to Frankfurt.
Nice.
Sick.
I love it.
Oh man. Well, thankfully, Barcelona is making some roster changes, which it's not like it's going to save the season, but it's at least a step in the right direction. Got ourselves a new DB because, I mean, I've been saying for a while that Shelton is not compatible with semi-pro football on any team. Doesn't matter who it is. So, yeah, hopefully the replacement there works. And then Donadell obviously went out with injury. So we'll see how the new wide receiver, I'm spacing on his name right now, but we'll see how he does coming in. But, yeah, I don't think any of us were surprised about the Barcelona outcome.
Oh, no, I expected it to be worse, actually.
Me too. Honestly, the defense for the first half did fine.
Pretty good.
It was 10-0 at halftime, 19-0 at the end of the third. So, like, realistically, this wasn't a horrible game, except that you guys gave up 316 rushing yards.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah. But, I mean, it's one of those things of like they got up and then they did the smart thing and just started running the ball because they could run out the clock and we couldn't really stop it. So why not run against us? And yeah, the defense, I mean, there was definitely a drop-off midway through the third quarter or whatever. The defense was just gassed, man, from being out on the field for so long. Mm-hmm. I mean, the difference in time of possession was 11 minutes. We had 24 minutes with the ball. They had 35, almost 36 minutes with the ball.
That's horrific.
You're just asking for your defense to get gassed at that point. So I don't fault the defense for this one, even with how wild the score looks. It was not on them.
No,
I mean, and at least it's better than the first matchup, So
sadly,
there's improvement.
Yay.
You blown out improvement.
There was defensive improvement. The offense took a step back.
Hey, Levi Lewis had a pretty good completion percentage. 24-35. I feel like that's better than his average.
Also couldn't take more than 2.5 steps without getting absolutely rocked. So
that's besides the point.
So
Levi Lewis usually does have a pretty good completion percentage, though, and he doesn't throw a lot of picks despite how bad his pocket is.
He'd rather get hit than throw a pick.
Yeah. He's kind of got the Tyrod Taylor effect,
Yeah.
Where his stat line usually looks okay, but it doesn't look good.
If you watch the game, you'll be like, wow, that was a shitty game. But if you're like, oh, scorebook, that was pretty solid. But
yeah, Tyrol did their thing. Bonatti went off. I mean, 23 attempts for basically 200 yards, 3 tuds. Mm-hmm. Couldn't stop him.
Player of the week.
You're so right. He was the player of the week, and rightfully so. I mean, he crushed us. Because we did a pretty good job of keeping Perry in check throughout the game.
Yeah.
But
Perry did not have the best game.
But Bonatti crushed us, so it's not like it really mattered.
No, yeah. One-sided game. Raiders have the Vikings next week, so we'll see.
That'll be interesting to see the rematch.
Especially if Perry plays like he did this week, 10 of 17, 114, because the Vikings defense is not going to give up 360 yards on the ground.
Yeah, Perry will definitely have to step up for next week because, Vienna's defense is way too good for all of that. And so, you've got to keep them honest. I'm not saying that he has to go off for 350 yards in order for them to win, but he's got to do better than he did against us because our defense, not good in comparison to Vienna's.
No, not at all.
So.
And we can talk about Vienna because they're the next game.
Yup.
Return to Ben Holmes. 53 passing attempts. They just let him unleash. 31 of 53, 381, 4 touchdowns, and an early pick on the first drive of the game.
Yeah, once he got through that first quarter, man, he looked great.
Yeah.
I'm still not on the Ben VP train personally.
I don't think you ever were.
Nah, you're right. I never was. But he balled out, especially, quarters 2 and on. Dude was unstoppable. And then he didn't even play the fourth quarter, did he?
He did, but we basically ran the ball the whole time.
Okay. I thought
we had like a drive and a half. We had both teams had an 11-play drive in the fourth quarter, and then we got the ball with like 2.5 minutes left, and they just kind of ran the timeout.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Holmes did great. Reese Horn with big numbers again. And then Toure, man, 11 catches, 155, 2 tuds.
Rookie of the year in the making?
It's a solid dude. That wide receiver room for Vienna is disgusting, especially once Jordan Bois comes back.
Oh.
Because it's not like Bois is an A import. That's an E import. So he can stay on the team. Reese can stay on the team. And Toure can stay on. That is disgusting.
And we're missing our top tight end in Beer Bomber. Wait till he comes back.
I
but
in the best.
No, I know. But our rush defense, with 7 starters out and no A imports on the defense last weekend, held the number 2 running back in the ELF to 38 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all made Brzezowski look human. Very human.
We're getting our young stud Noah Sewell back, and we just signed Ken Hike Jr. because for whatever reason Helvetic said no thanks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, didn't you talk to Hike?
No, I sent a message to Nazir Streeter, the linebacker.
Yeah, I was like, you talked to somebody on Helvetic.
Yes, the linebacker they cut out of nowhere.
He's still unsigned, right, Streeter?
Yeah, he said he's not sure if he'll get signed or not.
Bro, hey, Streeter, if you're listening, you're probably not, but please come to Barcelona. Our linebacker room could use you expeditiously, brother.
It's the only thing is not a lot of teams looking for an A linebacker.
Oh, he's an A import? Mm-hmm. That's tough. But I mean, we just... Our who is it? Shelton was an A import, and I don't believe the DB we just signed was an A import. So we might have room. Streeter, come swing by the office. We can chat.
But for the second time this year, the Vikings beat the Panthers, and they cut their quarterback. I haven't seen anything officially official, but they signed Matt Vital again.
Oh, okay.
He used to play for the Panthers, and he balled out. Really good quarterback, from what I've heard. Better than Duncan and Urabe or John.
Yeah, I would have just gone straight for Epler. Just sucker punch to the gut.
There was probably a reason why the Vikings released him this afternoon after the Panthers signed Vital.
Yeah.
Tanner, your thoughts on this game?
On this game, I mean, not a ton. I mean, it's probably what we mostly expected out of this. I mean, it's Wrocław's in a weird position where they're not a bad team, but there's just a lot of mismanagement going around with the quarterback position that they're probably out of a playoff spot at this point now. They're 2-4, 2-5, something like that.
And their schedule has been absolutely brutal.
It's been
they did not get held by the ELF at all.
No.
Yeah, so they got the short end of the stick there. But, I mean, they're probably out of the playoffs at this point. I mean, hopefully they can get stability at the quarterback room by the end of the season. And if this guy that they signed, who was supposed to be really good before, if he's really good for the rest of the season and, if they make a good run, then, maybe next year they'll have a better fighting chance. But it sucks to say only in week 7, but it seems like things are looking pretty grim for them.
They are behind Berlin now. They fell to 3rd in the standings in the Eastern Conference. So now they have to fight with Berlin, the Raiders, Paris, Frankfurt, Madrid, and maybe the Sea Devils, all for 3 wildcard spots.
And the issue with that is there's a lot of teams that have 3, like Paris and Madrid both have 3 wins, but they're 3-1. So they've only played 4 games. So you're expecting those guys to drop a bunch of more games in order for you to get caught back up in that situation. And that's not what you want to be rooting for.
The only thing is they have to play each other. So maybe they beat up on each other.
I will say Wrocław letting go of, I'm going to butcher his last name here, Uribe? I don't know.
Uribe? John.
It's one of those things of like, yeah, they can sign whoever they want. And, Tanner, I get what you're saying as far as like taking good things into next season, but their offense isn't really the issue. And for the most part this season, their offense hasn't been the issue. I mean, he still threw for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles, took care of the ball. They still dropped 25 points on arguably the
One
best
of the
defense
best.
in the ELF, maybe the second.
With
Probably.
7 starters out.
Still, y'all's defense, even y'all's backups have been hurting.
No, yeah.
So, like this is backups or not, this is a fantastic defense.
No, I'm not saying it's not,
With
but
incredible depth. And, I don't necessarily know if switching the quarterback is going to fix anything for you, because at the end of the day, you still dropped 25, but your defense gave up 37. That to me is the bigger issue here. And Vroslav has been giving up a lot of points to a lot of teams, and I haven't seen a linebacker get cut. I haven't seen a whole lot of people on their defense get cut.
Well, if they cut Wentland, they're absurd. But I will say they have a positive point differential.
Good.
So they're scoring more points than they're giving up. But like we said a minute ago, the opponents they've played have just been absolutely brutal.
Yeah, true. Very true.
With Vital coming in,
they are a bottom league defense, though. I mean, they've given up the 13th most rushing yards, the 16th most passing yards, the 13th most amount of points. Like,
their passing is garbage. Their pass defense is absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at their offense, they're 4th in passing yard, 5th in points, and 3rd in rushing yards. I mean, they're a top 5 offense all around, but they're a bottom 5 defense. So
we heard they had money, or they have money. Why didn't they shell out for Hike?
Yeah,
because Hike's not going to save their season, not alone at least. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, any final thoughts on Vroslav Vienna?
Nope.
No.
Well, that takes us to Tanner. If you would like to start us off, Madrid Bravos Rhine Fire, the rematch.
Yeah, I mean, it sucked. I don't know. Like, it was just one of those games where almost nothing went right for Madrid. They just couldn't get the running game going. They couldn't get their passing game going. They couldn't really stay on the field. And Ryan was just able to run down their throats. I mean, Jadrian Clark didn't really have to do anything. I mean, he only completed 9 passes, and they just had Tunga and Kendis just run all over us. And we talked about this before, that this was Madrid's one weak spot would be their rushing defense. And Ryan, I think they took that to heart, and they were like, hey, the first time we played, we tried to pass all over them and it didn't work. But, when Tunga got his licks in, he got his licks in. So we need to go out there and we just need to run it down their throats, and there's going to be nothing they can do. And I think this is the formula to beat Madrid going forward. If you want to have a chance, you got to run the ball as often and as consistently as possible. And that means Madrid's probably still going to be a playoff team, because there's not a lot of teams who can run the ball that consistently and that well. So they're still probably going to beat up on a lot of those teams that don't have a great running game. But, teams like Rhine, like Poland, like Vienna, like Tyrol, those are all really scary matchups for them, because they're not going to be able to stop those rushing attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that I noticed from this game is it feels like y'all and Ryan are basically the same team in a sense of, you're stacked at the running back position. You both have good quarterbacks that, can get hot, but also, have kind of underperformed in some of the bigger situations. With receivers, they've got McKnight, y'all have Patterson. I think that those, while they have different styles of play, they're pretty comparable as far as what they mean to the team. And so this really mirrored what y'all did to them that first go around. Was that first matchup, y'all punched them in the mouth first. You punched them hard, and then you didn't let them get back up. And they did the same thing to y'all this past week. Of they punched y'all hard, they punched y'all first, and they didn't let you get back up. And so, I saw a if the playoffs started today type of tweet from the ELF, and it showed that y'all would be facing off again in the playoffs. Man, I want that. I want that so bad. That would be such a great game. I know that would make you nervous, but I would love that.
That's what's funny about this first season is, obviously they want the Madrid-Barcelona rivalry to occur, That's not really how it's going so far in the LF.
No.
It seems like Madrid and Ryan have a much more interesting rivalry already, and I think it's going to be a lot more passionate in the years going forward, which is good for the league. I think it's good that you have a team like Madrid come in immediately. They see the top contender, and they're immediately like, these are the guys that we're going to beat up on, and they're going to beat up on us, and these are going to be those aggressive, passionate games. And shout out to the Spanish people on Madrid. I mean, Cernuda scored and Molina scored, so that was cool. Sucks that they weren't able to do much more with it, but it's cool seeing their homegrown talent actually get into the end zone as opposed to their American or their other imports. So
yeah, that's true. I think this game could have been drastically different if it wasn't for the second half of the second quarter, because that is where the game completely fell apart for the Bravos. Tunga scored first, that big outside rush, little waltz into the end zone. Madrid, I think they went like 3 and out after that. But the next drive, Clark threw a pick. Linebacker fumbled it, gave it back to the Fire.
Oh, sorry. Was that the one where I thought he got called back first, then the fumble happened.
Same. No. So the first one, the first one, they picked it, ran it back to like midfield, fumbled it, recovered by the Fire. I think it was like the very next play or like 2 plays later, threw a pick, roughing the passer call.
Yeah. A very soft roughing the passer call.
And they returned it to like the 15, 20 yard line. Like it was a big return. And then they scored on that play to go up 14-0 or 14 or 13-0. I forget if they made the extra point. And then the next drive, they had the tipped interception that they returned to the 1 yard line. So that those 4 total drives changed the entire game. And if you could hold on to the ball and not hit a quarterback after he threw it, it could be a different outcome.
Which that was a very soft. That was an NFL roughing the passer call. Like I saw that and I was like, come on, guys, y'all normally let them be a little bit more physical than that.
Yeah, but it is what it is. It happened. They got destroyed. Till next time.
Till next time. You know who didn't get destroyed, though? The Enthroners, baby. They only lost by 5 this weekend.
This was actually a pretty fun game to watch.
Oh, dude, it was a shit ton of fun. It was ugly, but it was fun.
Mangle went 24-42, 226, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Broncos fumbled the ball like 17 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a lost fumble on both sides. There was a fumble on both sides that wasn't lost. There was an interception on both sides. It was an ugly ass game, but it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, that's okay. And the Seamen are 500.
Yeah.
Golly, man.
Who saw that coming? Well, I guess we all did. We picked them, but I saw a thing. If they win next week against who do they play? Against Helvetic, they'll be over 500 for the first time in ELF history.
And they can't even get 500 fans to their games, bro.
No, they're losing fans each week.
Yeah, because it's unwatchable.
They're
we talked
winning,
about it last
though.
week. I don't care if they're winning. They're so awful to watch.
It is an ugly, ugly brand of football, and it is a lucky brand of football because of who their matchups have been. Playing Helvetic twice, playing us.
It's like watching the Broncos the last 2 years.
That's true.
Like you're watching the NFL and you're like watching the Broncos and you're like, these guys are awful in every phase of the game, but somehow they beat up on the worst teams. But they do it in such an ugly and uninteresting manner that like it's impossible to be motivated or like excited to watch those games. Like I have Broncos friends and they're always just like, the last 2 years they're just complaining about like it's like we have the most insufferable offense to watch in the NFL.
Their defense will get like a pick 6 and a kick return or a punt return, and then they'll have another pick that takes it down to like the 2 yard line, and that's how their offense scores. And then it's like 20.
They'll only get 3 points. They wouldn't even score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that's where Milano's at too. I mean, they're just insufferable to watch. Like they're just it's an ugly brand of football, and they might go 6-6 or whatever. They might they might fuck around and go 7-5 or 6-6 or whatever, and look like they did pretty all right this season. But I mean, they suck. I mean, they're terrible.
They're 10th in offense, 13th in defense. Oh, Number 2 in sacks, though. Their defense is getting after the quarterback.
Yay. Also, who have they played? Who have they racked up those sacks against? Barcelona, Helvetic,
the Raiders,
Prague,
the Raiders, the Ravens, Helvetic, Stuttgart, Barcelona, and Throners.
Okay, that's actually a better lineup than I thought that they had of games.
Yeah, but they could.
I'll leave Milano be.
They could end up 5-3 over the next couple weeks. They play Helvetic and then Throners again.
That is disgusting.
Yeah,
and the league needs to step in and relegate them just out of pure spite.
Fairvar might mess around and win Week 9 though. They're due for a win. They can't go.
They came close.
They can't go 0-14.
Unfortunate, it's not this week, but the week after, I think we get Prague and Verevar. That's going to be a game.
Oh,
that's going to be sweet.
That's horrible.
That is a beautiful thing. That is a godsend. One of those teams is going to walk away with their first win. And then we'll get to reorder our King of Shit Mountain graphic. Speaking of someone who's still stuck in the middle of King of the Shit Mountain, Helvetic loses to Stuttgart 7-50, and our friend Carlton Aiken Jr. is fortunate to have not died out on the field.
That's true. But before hopping into this, what were you about to say, Tanner?
Oh, sorry.
I was just I was looking at the schedule, and Milano can end the season with a winning record. They play.
Their 2 toughest games are Stuttgart and the Ravens. Oh, and the Raiders, I guess.
Yeah, so they could realistically, because they just have to beat Barcelona, Verevar, and Helvetic again, and they have a winning record.
They could go 7-7.
If Milano ends 500 or higher, I will buy a Milano Seaman shirt.
Wow,
nice.
We are holding that to it.
Hold me to it. Screw it, man. If that's how I end up getting my first ELF shirt, that's how I get my first ELF shirt.
That's true. Yeah.
It'd probably be the only shirt they sold all season.
Hey, they have like 300 fans. It's fine. But let's talk about someone who has less fans. The Mercenaries.
Do they have less fans, or does their team just not good?
Well, now that they just cut Hike Jr. and Nazir, they probably have less fans. But they did sign former Falcons defensive back Trey Webb III.
Ooh. It's not going to save their season, but ooh.
Save their pass defense.
Maybe. Because they got torched.
They'll save one half of their pass defense. But the Surge arguably have the number 1 wide receiver room in the ELF. Is it Lewis Geyer?
Yeah, Lewis Geyer.
Yeah.
Weedman, Hazelton Jr. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I still feel like I think that they have the number 2 wide receiver room. I feel like when healthy, Vienna still has the number 1 wide receiver room, but that's a totally different discussion.
Not arguing about that. But
of course not.
Geyer set the record for most touchdown receptions to start the season in a game, where he's scored every single game so far this year.
Wow.
He's kind of like the Christian McCaffrey. Nick said it during the recap thing on Monday, but it was like basically if you were betting on anytime touchdown scores in the NFL last year, you put Christian McCaffrey down. And he's basically saying do that for Geyer this year. He will most likely score every single game.
It looks like they didn't have Meyer out there.
Yeah, he was not playing.
Yeah.
I think he's hurt.
Is he?
I think
That's
so.
Sad. So sad.
That's like their best receiver. So.
Yeah, and they still put up 50. Hennessy had 272 yards, 3 touchdowns. They pulled him in the second half.
And then Heydrich ends up going 6 for 10, 113 and 2.
Yeah, the backup goes for 113 and 2 in like a quarter and a half.
Heydrich's stats this year are just absurd.
It's so funny. Like, I would be curious what Heydrich would look like as a starting quarterback for maybe one of the lesser teams. But man, Stuttgart's just so good that they make him look great. You know, like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid where I'm like, maybe he could come play for Barcelona.
Yeah, but
until he gets here and he has no offensive line.
It says Heydrich has played in that's just how many games the teams have played. But he is 15 of 22. For 270 yards and 5 touchdowns.
And no interceptions, right?
No picks.
Oh, man.
It's like a Mohamed Sanu stat line.
Dude, let's get Heydrich on the pod, bro. Let's talk because he has the best job in all the ELF. He is the backup quarterback for the best team in the league.
Do you just want to come in when we're up by a lot so you can score more touchdowns?
Dog, that is all every young American boy ever prays for is just, yep, we're up 50. Go in, Jordan. Go score a couple more touchdowns because we're just so much better. You got it, coach.
Yeah.
Need that.
But let's talk about someone who scored a lot of touchdowns, Zach Edwards.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we knew he was going to have a bounce back game.
Oh, yeah.
290 yards, 4 tuds, 1 pick, but the pick was tipped, wasn't it?
I think so. I don't remember.
And then had 75 yards on the ground and another touchdown. I mean, just those are Madden numbers.
Mm-hmm. And crazy that the final score was 60-25 when it was a 1-point game at halftime.
Cologne Centurions, the best first half team in all the ELF.
They'd probably be undefeated in the first half if they were only first 1/2 games.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's not how football works, though.
Nope. You need to play all 4 quarters, not 2.
Yeah, but I mean, they were just. Paris looks so balanced. They have so much depth on that team. I mean,
they have such a big country. No one else to play for.
Big country, only one team, tons of, and I hate to throw it out this way, but, they got a lot of black folk in France and got a lot of athletes in France. And so, yeah, I mean, defense has hella depth. Their receiving group has hella depth. Their rushing attack has hella depth. I mean, I'm just looking at these numbers right now, Aguman, 5 attempts, 106, a touchdown. Zach Edwards, obviously, we just mentioned 8 rushing attempts, 74 yards, a touchdown. Vumbo, 8 attempts, 27. McCory, 6 for 26. They're just able to hey, if you have legs and you can run, we'll give you the ball. You'll probably do something with it. Very luxurious.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, Paris is they're one of the top teams for sure. I mean, they had that ugly loss to Rhine, but I mean, it's to the Fire, who's one of the top teams anyways. So
yeah,
I mean, I think we're going to see a lot out of Paris. I think Paris is easily in the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, they just have such a dominant rushing attack too that it's going to be hard for teams to keep up with.
Dominant rushing attack. They have as long as Edwards takes care of the ball, he's a great quarterback. He had that one game where it was like 2 picks and a fumble or two fumbles and a pick, whatever it was, whenever they lost to Rhine. But other than that, Edwards has been great. So, but
yeah, they need to throw another team in France, put somebody in Marseille or Nice or something to kind of.
Hey, I mean, if they need an owner for the Marseille team,
right.
I've seen the beaches out there. They kind of nice. So
yeah, it's supposed to be pretty,
Yeah, and I know that they say they're like, oh, the crime rate's high, and it's like, yeah, just don't get stabbed in an alleyway, and you'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. Someone who was not fine though, the Prague Lions, who lost to Berlin 34-7. Again, there were just so many games this week. I mean. I know that there was the one discrepancy between Orion and Madrid between the three of us, but we predicted all of these other games and we got them all right. It's exactly how the script was written.
I mean, it was just a tough week for the competition in the league, just because you had a lot of the top end teams playing a lot of the bottom half league end teams, and it just resulted in a lot of blowouts. Yeah. And Prague has not looked like a capable football club this entire year. And so,
and they're going up against Sullivan, who, despite the record for Berlin, has kind of put himself in the MVP conversations just because of how good he is as an individual.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, 21 of 35 for 327, 3 tuds. And then also, on the ground, 5 rushing attempts, 39 yards. That's a good day. It's a good day. Jackson with 6 receptions, 143, a touchdown. Wilczek had 2 receptions, 55, and 2 touchdowns. And then their defense was just all over the place. Just
And Berlin probably arguably has the most interesting connection in the league right now between Sullivan and Jackson. I mean, those two. Oh yeah, they have clicked so well, and
since
when that offense is rolling, I mean, it's rolling. So there's a lot of those bottom teams, Berlin. They're going to have the same thing. I hate to say it, as Milano, where they're just going to dominate a lot of those. Well, they're not the same thing as Milano, because Milano doesn't dominate the bad teams. They just kind of win. But Berlin does it better than Milano, where they actually do dominate the bad teams. So you're going to see Berlin with a pretty good record at the end of the year, because even though they can't compete with like the top 5 teams, they can beat everybody else.
Yeah, and they're also in a weaker conference.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, there's still a chance for them to make the playoffs, if I remember correctly.
They could sneak into the playoffs. They're sitting second in the Eastern Conference at 3-3 right now.
Yeah. Well, they just take one from each conference, right? And then it's just the top 3 records after that, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're going to be fighting with.
I guess they would have to rely on either Madrid or Paris losing a bunch of games in order to really have a chance, because Stuttgart's going to go, Tirol's going to go, Rhine's going to go, and Vienna's going to go. And so record-wise, that leaves Paris and Madrid, who are 3-1 right now. I guess that road's kind of difficult for them.
Yeah, it's difficult. Even though they have the same amount of wins, they're 3-3, and the other 2 guys are 3-1. So
yeah. There's like 4 to 5 teams fighting for that last playoff spot.
Yeah.
But hey, that'll make for a wonderful little bloodbath at the end of the season.
Yeah. Did you guys talk about how Prague did not have a quarterback for this game?
No, we did not.
Yeah. So they tried to find a loophole in the rules, and the ELF, the day of the game, said that's not going to work. So they cut their quarterback, and then they tried to hire an offensive coordinator to play quarterback. And that's when the Elves said, you can't do that. So they had to play a position player as quarterback. And it's the first ever game with no completions.
I was just about to say, I was looking at the stats for Prague, and I was like, we've had some issues, at least at the beginning of the season, with the stats. And I was like, okay, they just forgot to put in Prague's stat line. I didn't realize that the 0 of 1 for 0 yards from Fields Jackson was real, and that
that looks like a week 1 stat line when it was broken, but no, this is not broken. They attempted 1 pass and completed 0.
Dog, that is incredible. I love this league.
Yep.
So much.
Yes.
Poor Prague.
Yes. Poor Prague.
Yeah. And it sucks because they have such a great logo,
Their rebrand, top notch.
Yes.
Their rebuild,
not
no.
So much.
But I had to step away. But the Cologne's, I think Cologne just, no. Who got a new quarterback? The Lions actually just got a new quarterback.
Well, that's good. They went the week without having one, and now they got one for next week. So
exactly. I think it's the Lions. I could be wrong. We'll find out. Yeah.
And then the last game on our docket, the Hamburg Sea Devils again losing to the Frankfurt Galaxy in the Godfather series, in a game that until the fourth quarter was not exciting at all.
17-3 at halftime. No points in the third quarter.
Yeah, it was one of those that for like a split second, I was like, oh, this might actually be a game. And then it wasn't.
No, yeah.
So
the Galaxy played well, though. Castle, 175 yards. Platzgummer, 108 yards on the ground. Zaradka, 268, 2 and 2.
I'm impressed
with
you
also
got through that last name
fumbles.
so quickly. Well done, Daniel.
I'm learning.
But yeah, we didn't really learn anything about Frankfurt in this game. I was hoping that we would, Frankfurt would be a little bit more dominant, and we would say, maybe Frankfurt is going to catch fire, and really make a big push towards the end of the season. But I'm still not sold on them right now.
I think it was just since of how big of a rivalry game it was. Because even the 0-16 Browns fight against the Pittsburgh Steelers when they're above 500.
Yeah, but I don't think that the talent I guess the talent disparity between these two teams isn't all that big either.
I mean, also it was like a fourth quarter. They put up all of their points.
Yeah, there was a lot of garbage time for sure. I'm thinking more so Frankfurt's offense. I was expecting a little bit more razzle dazzle.
Hamburg, I don't think, has a horrible defense. I think their big struggle is their offense. Like, they should cut their quarterback and sign Epler if I was Hamburg.
Fair.
Yeah, and I mean, Hamburg actually has a chance to compete. I mean, what, they're 2-2 or 2-3 or something?
They're both sitting at 2-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but honestly, if I was the Sea Devils GM right now, I'd cut both my A imports on offense and sign Weston Carr, who just got cut, and Shelton Epler. Take them from Vienna.
You said Shelton Epler, and I thought you were talking about I forget Shelton's first name from Barcelona. I was like, they absolutely do not need to sign Shelton from Barcelona.
To play quarterback, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I just heard the name Shelton, and I was like, no,
you're fine. But Weston Carr played well for Vienna when he wasn't hurt, and Epler for his 2 games balled out.
Yep.
So I'm no GM for the league, but that's what I
should be though.
That's what I do.
Well, cool. Any final thoughts on this past week's slate of games before we kick it to commercial break, y'all?
Even though there wasn't a lot of close games were still good. 8 games is always fun.
8 games is always fun.
We have it next week too.
Hey, that Seaman game was great to watch.
That's true.
Not a high quality product, but a lot of fun. It's like every Fast and Furious movie past like number 3, where it's like shit product, still a lot of fun to watch.
A lot of explosions, a lot of action.
Yeah, and a lot of things that go horribly wrong.
That's true.
Well, cool. Thanks, y'all, for listening. We're going to kick it to commercial break real fast. And then whenever we come back, we're going to do our pick'ems for, what is this now, week 7, right?
7. Yeah, we're flying through the season.
We're about to be halfway through the season right after this.
You're the proud owner of a business, and you've got it all. The hustle, the bustle, and the occasional office kitchen mishap that turns into an alarm-triggering emergency.
Oh!
But fear not. Western States Fire Protection is here to turn your workplace into a disaster-free zone. Our in-house team handles everything from fire sprinklers to alarms, monitoring, inspections, extinguishers, and more. Visit WSFP.com to request a quote.
Are you looking for a podcast to advertise your business? Well, you're in luck. Here at the Fourth Down Fiasco, we're looking for show sponsors. Whether you want to be a platinum sponsor and be mentioned at the beginning and end of every episode, or you just want a simple 30 or 60-second ad, we got you covered. If you're interested in having a spot on our show, you can reach us at fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. That's fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. We are excited to hear from you and even more excited to have you on the show. Join the Fiasco family now.
All right, and welcome back to the Fourth Down Fiasco, your go-to podcast for all things football. And yes, we are absolutely obsessed with the European League of Football, and that is what we will be talking about for the rest of the show and probably for the next coming weeks until the NFL begins, which we will have to figure out how we're going to do 2 shows at one time. But looking forward to this upcoming slate of games in the European League of Football, we've got some exciting matchups, beginning with the Vienna Vikings and the Raiders Tirol. For the second matchup of the season, the Battle of Austria, a very dynamic rivalry. Who do y'all have? Need to know.
Even though they're at 9,000 feet, I'm going Vienna. Ken Hike Jr. is about to have himself a day.
Yeah, I'll be following suit. I think Tirol's a lot better than they were the last time these 2 teams played, and I think it's going to be more competitive. But unfortunately, I don't think Tirol's good enough to compete with Vienna at this time. I think Tirol's still a step below those top 4 or 5 teams, and I just think they're going to struggle trying to get a win off on Vienna.
Danny, let me ask you this. How's your defense looking? Are y'all still going to have like 7 guys out, or are y'all healthy now?
We're not fully healthy, but we're healthier than last week. So we're getting Noah Svankar back from the U20 league. He came in 3rd in the world
which was huge.
Team Austria, yeah. We're getting Ken Hike Jr., and I think we're supposed to sign another import by the end of the week.
I forgot y'all DB. Yeah.
Yeah. So our D line is still a little banged up, but we're still one of the top D lines. We still rush the quarterback, and now we're getting our linebacker back, who is all over the field at all times.
Yeah, if y'all are healthy, then I'm going to go with y'all. I'm going to go with Vienna. I was thinking that maybe if y'all had 7 people out like y'all did last week, there would be a chance for Raiders to roll. But yeah, y'all's defense is they're just too good. And the Raiders kind of have an average defense, and they have a good offense, especially now that they've got Perry, being able to throw along with their rush attack with Benatti. But yeah, if y'all's defense for the most part is healthy, I'm gonna choose y'all even with the altitude difference. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's
fair.
It's just hard. I'm looking at this slate of games for this upcoming week, and I'm like, where am I going to make up ground on you two?
It's just so hard.
I know
it is, man. And
like Tanner's article, the talent between the teams is brutal. And unless you get 2 top teams or 2 bottom teams, or I guess 2 middle teams playing each other, no one's making up ground.
And that's the thing is, I feel like of this week, the only game, at least in my head, that I think, maybe you could argue like the upset, I think, is this first matchup, is Tyrol and Vienna.
I could see the Seaman Mercenaries being a weird game.
I mean, Helvetics do, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. So game number 2 on Saturday, Munich Ravens at Barcelona Dragons. And I'm going to be completely honest, as the Barcelona fan in the room, we're not going to win because our offense can't put up any fucking points. And that's the hard thing, is like, I don't think that Munich is a particularly great team. And I think that if we had any type of competent offensive strategy whatsoever, we could beat them, but we don't. So, yeah.
That's true.
So I'm going to go Munich.
Yep.
Fair enough.
I completely agree. I don't see a world where Barcelona keeps this one close. I mean, Munich's not a phenomenal team. They're not a top 5 team, but they have a pretty solid defense. They can keep the ball running well on offense, and I just don't see Barcelona doing anything to either side of the ball there.
Yeah, I see this being a game where, because I'm with you, Tanner, on Munich has a pretty solid defense. Their offense is I could see us losing this game like 14-0 again, like not scoring.
I think the final score will be much more than 14-0.
I think so too. Yeah.
They lost. They kept it somewhat close against the Surge 2 weeks ago before their bye week, at least for a Surge game. And now they're coming against one of the worst teams in the league after a bye week. So I think they're just going to.
And I think Munich beat, who was it? Was it Milano or was it Helvetic? They beat them like 47-7 or something like that.
The Seaman 47-7, and then Prague 51-7, and then followed that off with a 26-29 victory against the Raiders.
Dang.
But the last time they played Barcelona, week 14 of last year, they won 55-0.
Ooh, okay. You know what? Yeah, it'll be worse than 14-0.
Yeah. Munich also lost to the Raiders. They didn't beat the Raiders.
Also, another thing I just found, fun fact, if you're looking at like one of the team's schedules, so like I was just looking at Munich schedules on the European League.football website, not Sports Metric, you can click on it and it has the stats now.
Oh, that's fun.
And you can download like a game book, which is a PDF, and it shows everything.
Hell yeah.
Shows all the scores.
Well, I hope that it in real time shows us the Milano Seaman Helvetic Mercenary score, because that's going to be another one of those really ugly games like the Milano game last week. No matter who wins, it's gonna be ugly, and I'm kind of excited for it. I think it's gonna be close, relatively.
I could see it within 10.
Yeah. Just for the sake of being different and knowing that I've got to, swing for the fences or else I'm never going to catch up to y'all, I'm going to go Helvetic on this one.
That's fair. Tanner?
I won't.
Yeah.
It's like the thing with Helvetic is, especially since they just cut their 2 A imports on defense, or were they both A imports? I know Nazir was Hike also? He was as well. Yeah. Their defense was actually kind of good. I don't know, like Helvetic had like an okay defense.
I will say they might have improved on defensive back.
Yeah.
Because they get an actual NFL player at defensive back now.
That's true.
Hike didn't practice. Not that I know of. I didn't look into history of Hike, but I could be just bullshitting myself now. But I don't think he practiced against NFL teams like Ivory Webb did.
No, so I mean, I think that's huge, but you're expecting the guy to get caught up right away into this game. I mean, again, having the NFL experience is going to be massive, and I hope it's a really good move for them. But their defense really wasn't the thing that Helvetic needed to address at that moment.
No,
you know, they had a good defense. It's their offense that's putrid.
Well, it's specifically their offensive line that's putrid.
Yeah, but their defense. I messaged Nazir after he got cut, and I was like, "Dude, what happened? What's going on?" And he said their defensive coordinator said he is no longer needed because they have someone else who's better on their radar.
Ooh, is that an official journalist quote from Danny Weber?
What?
What? Insider quotes?
Crazy. It's like I spoke it into existence 3 weeks ago.
But no, yeah, the reason why I think that Helvetic has a chance though is I could very well see Milano, you know, coming off of a win against Barcelona, and who did they play last week? Shoot, I'm spacing now. Hello.
They played
Farivar. There we go. Thank you. You know, I could just see them back-to-back wins. Like, I don't know, just the thought of Milano winning 3 straight. I feel like law of averages states that they have to lose one of these games.
You guys said that last week.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep saying law of averages until the law of averages works in my favor, because that's how
that's fair.
I mean, it'll happen when they play Stuttgart in like 2 weeks. You know.
Well, that's not even law of averages. That's just God talking right there.
Yeah, then they're going to lose 90-3. You know.
Yeah. Hey, it wasn't that bad the first time they played. It was only 55-9.
Yeah. I could just see Milano, you know, coming into this not necessarily complacent, because I don't think that they're a complacent team. I think they know that they suck, but I think that they could go into it just a little softer, just like, hey man, you know, we've been on a roll, let's get excited, and then they just do a couple of really dumb things, you know, maybe let Carlton Aiken get hot on the ground, let him score, you know, a pair of touchdowns or something, or let Anthony Brown do his thing, and then they're going to go, well shit, it's halftime and we're down 14-3, and then Helvetic just kind of runs out the clock in the second half and, you know, just kind of wins it by 3 or something like that.
If Aiken needs to run the ball, he can. He doesn't have to throw the football.
He has no problem.
Rusher for a reason.
Yeah. He's the third leading rusher in the league for a reason. And it's because he'll take off and go. So,
I mean, I'd love to see it, you know.
I'd love to see our boy Aiken get a win.
But
let's talk about
the mercenaries suck.
Yeah, they do. They're bad. New ownership next year should be better, hopefully.
Yeah, we hope.
But this battle for third place in the Western Conference.
Yeah, this Galaxy Bravos game is going to be a little bit more exciting. I still think the Bravos are going to take it, but I think it'll be a game. I
think the Galaxy are playing better, but I agree. Madrid is not going to lose 2 in a row.
Yeah, they see this is the clear cut. If we beat them, then we establish ourselves into the playoff picture kind of moment. And so I think Frankfurt gives Madrid their best shot. I think they lose, but I think they give them their best shot.
I think what holds it back for me thinking that this is going to be competitive is the way we've seen the way to beat Madrid is through running the ball, and Frankfurt has the worst rushing offense in the league. They're 17th.
Fair.
So if they can't run the ball, and that's something they don't do well, you're not beating Madrid. That's the way you get through them.
Yeah.
And it's an uphill battle for Frankfurt right off the bat. They're traveling down to Madrid. The best way to beat this team is the weakest part of your team's identity. The cards aren't lining up for them. I mean, it would be great if they make it competitive, because I think Frankfurt's better than, what their record shows. But again, I think Madrid's a top 5 team in the league. I think Frankfurt's, somewhere in that like 7 to 9 range.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to kind of be reminiscent of Frankfurt's game last week, but on the other side, where instead of Hamburg coming back in the fourth quarter, it's going to be Frankfurt scoring garbage time points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, to try to get back into it.
Yeah.
See, I think that Frankfurt will start out, swinging. I mean, they're going to throw some bombs probably pretty early on just to see what they can get. I could see.
We have the best wide receiver, so.
Yeah, I could see this game being 17-14 at half, and then I see Madrid pulling away in the second half, and just because they are the better team on paper and eye test as well. They are better in all 3 phases of football. They've got better athletes. They've got better stars.
What's really funny is seeing everyone else talk on social media. I think we're one of the only group of people that cover the Elf that think Madrid is still going to be a playoff team.
Yeah,
Nick
they
and Matt.
They lose one game to the reigning champions, then everyone's just like, or not reigning champions. They were number 2 last year, weren't they? Or did they beat?
No, the Ryan.
You keep thinking the Surge won.
Yeah, they lose one game to the reigning champions, and people are like, "Oh, well, they're not going to make the playoffs anymore."
Yeah, like Nick was like, they're not. Nick and Matt on the show, they're like, I don't know about Madrid. Like they're going to end up 8. They're going to end up 7-7. We're like, what?
No, they're not going to drop that many games, bro. That's not happening. Like they are a good, well-constructed physical football team, and it's hard to get all of that together in this league of well-constructed, physical, and talented, and they've got all 3, and so they'll make.
They don't have an easy schedule. Like we see teams that have a cupcake schedule to the end of the season, but like they're going Frankfurt, then they have Barcelona, which is their last really easy game, and then they have Paris, Cologne, Hamburg, Frankfurt again, Paris again, Hamburg again.
They're going to win both those Hamburg matchups.
I see Madrid losing.
They'll lose one of the 2.
Paris.
I see they're going to lose a Paris game, and I think they win everything else. I
could see them, depending on how Frankfurt develops throughout the year, that week 12 I could see is a little iffy. But it also depends on how Frankfurt plays the next.
I mean,
I'm not saying they're going 7-7.
Yeah, no, I think it's crazy to think it's crazy to see people saying that they're going to end off that way, because their schedule is relatively easy. And again, like I was saying about Frankfurt cannot run the ball well. Yeah. So as long as Madrid plays the way that we know they can, Madrid's a nightmare matchup for Frankfurt. And
maybe before week 12 they decide to cut their running back and get a new one.
They get a better running back, Yeah. They definitely could, but I mean, I look at that schedule and I say, they might lose one of the Paris games. They might lose both of them, but those are the only losses I see.
I don't even think y'all lose both of them. I think y'all go 1-1. I think you and Paris are very evenly matched.
I think they'll be 9-3 at worst at the end of the year.
Definitely.
And probably 10-2 most realistically.
Yeah.
And if you're 9-3, you're making the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
1,000%.
What does Paris' schedule look like? Real quick before we talk about. Well, we're not talking about them yet, but
we're getting close to. Let me see. So Paris next week, not this week. They play Berlin, Madrid again,
then Fire.
Oof.
After Hamburg, their 4-game stretch is brutal. Like Berlin against Frankfurt, I like that matchup.
Yeah, that's not a good time.
No. So maybe they're talking about the wrong Elf team here. Maybe they're talking about the wrong Western Conference team.
The wrong 3-1 team.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we Americans actually know some football. Who knows?
Or we're just talking out of our ass.
I mean, I do that just out of my everyday life, but
That's true.
I feel like
that's true. But we're talking about Berlin. Oh wait, did we all pick Madrid?
Yeah, we're all picking Madrid.
Right. Berlin enthroners. In Farivar.
I think I might have to go with the Hungarians. No, fuck that. I'm sorry.
One of these weeks, I'm just going to put it down, and you're not going to have a choice.
It's going to be Berlin. I'm sorry.
Farivar is speaking to you like the Green Goblin mask, man.
Yeah,
they really do, bro. Just they just have such a lovely little E with a crown, and I'm just like, I want to be a king.
Their logo is pretty nice. That logo
I
design.
Want to be a king, but I mean, you're 1,000% right. Yeah, that little E crown is just like, yeah, you want to pick me this week, bitch.
Well, it's like a two-faced E, anyways. Like they're already like a double-sided thing.
Perfectly balanced. I like balanced things.
Yeah. But Berlin did beat them 43-3 a couple weeks ago.
No, yeah, they're about to get smacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there anything else to say?
No, they're going to get smacked.
Okay.
Rough week
Paris Hamburg.
3-1
team.
I'm going Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if in Paris. Yeah,
fuck the French, but hey, man, I do be liking to watch some Paris football, and it bugs the shit out of me, man.
That's just an overall clean team. Clean jersey.
Shout out Nick Batum though, back on the Clippers. That's my boy, Thickless.
Thickless, oh my gosh. Yeah. Hey, bro, I will say y'all's Olympic squad. Y'all got a lot of big motherfuckers. You got Wimby, you got the old boy that I hate that I'm not going to say the name of. You got Batum. You got everybody.
That Paris squad looks dangerous for the Olympics.
Yeah, look at the America roster.
Yeah,
we assembled the fucking Avengers this year.
Outdated LeBron, outdated KD, outdated Kurt. No, I'm kidding. We're walking away with this Olympics. But
okay, hear me out though. Team. If there were ever a season, if there were ever an Olympic year where it could happen,
4 years ago.
Nah. Now that Paris has Wemby, that's a whole different type of threat.
The U.S. not being dominant because we sent all college kids last Olympics.
Yeah, last Olympics we blew it because we sent a bunch of scrubs. I think we had DeMar DeRozan leading that team.
It was Devin Booker and DeMar DeRozan, I think.
Yeah, we're our best players.
Squad. Yeah.
This year though, we
brought 2012 Olympics back.
Yeah. I mean, Kawhi's playing like the third
on the team. Yeehaw!
You're the American. Come on now, gas yourself up.
No, dude, I'm sorry. Anytime that I can cheer, it's
rooting for Slovenia.
It's fun. Like the year that Slovenia got fourth because Luka Doncic decided to pass instead of take his own shot. I wanted Slovenia to beat America so bad 4 years ago. Like,
oh, dude, you're such a Luka meat writer.
1,000%.
Oh my god, dude!
I don't give a shit.
Dude, you're just a Luka Bronzexual. It's crazy. You're rooting for Slovenia.
I'm not a Bronzexual. No,
but you're like the equivalent of a Bronzexual, but for Luka.
Yeah, 1,000%. I'll be honest about it.
You're rooting against your home country in the Olympics for Luka to win?
That's like a felony.
I am USA for every other event, but whenever there's an opportunity for, come on, us losing.
Is that treason? That has to be treason, right?
Yeah, it's Benedict Arnold behavior for sure.
It's hilarious. Just like us losing in the U20 International Football Championship, that shit was hilarious.
We've won it like twice. Canada's won the last 3.
It was hilarious, mainly because number one, our best players weren't on that team.
Yeah, well, I couldn't tell you any 20-year-olds like.
Well, that's the issue with the U20 league is like the rules for that league are it's like, okay, well, the U.S. can't send any people who have played in college. They can't send any people who have played in the NFL.
Yeah,
so 20 you can't play in the NFL anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't play any college.
I still found it funny though because everyone was just on Twitter. Oh my gosh, U.S. lost, and it's like, yeah. We
did the last 3 years.
It's not.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we got way derailed.
Way off track. 2 teams with new quarterbacks. 2 teams with new quarterbacks. The Panthers and the Lions. I really think the Lions got a new quarterback. I could be making stuff up.
They did. I checked Twitter to see if you're right. Okay. I forgot his name already because that was about 15 minutes ago. But
it might be like Cooper or something. I don't know. But 2 new quarterbacks. One played for the Panthers. He's supposedly really good. he played really good in the GFL, or really well.
Vroslav is running away with this one. Vroslav is finally getting an easy opponent to whoop up on, and that's what they're going to do.
They're going to take advantage of it, yeah.
They're taking their anger out on their first 6 weeks of hell.
Yeah.
Like, can we
really
recap real quick? I think we do it every week. That would be hysterical. But started with Berlin, then to Stuttgart, then Vienna, Frankfurt. Then they got the Enthroners that they did whip up on. Then back to Vienna. So,
yeah, dude, the fucking Thanos' gauntlet over there with all the Infinity Stones, like that just doesn't sound like a good time to me.
And it doesn't get much easier later on. But
so yeah, Vroslav's going to go in this. They're going to be locked in. They're going to be like, look, if we're going to win a game this season, it's going to be against Prague. And they're going to stomp the shit out of them. They're going to have the home crowd there. We know that the Polish do love them some American football, and so they gonna have 10,000 plus people cheering for them. They gonna whoop up on Prague, and none of us are going to be surprised.
No, yeah. And so all Panthers.
All Panthers.
Yep. And last game of the week, the Fire versus Centurions for the rematch, and I think it'll be like a 3-point game.
Cologne's going to win the first half.
Yeah, at halftime it'll be a 3-point game, and then the final score will probably be 50 to 20.
Yeah,
it'll be bad. It'll be real bad.
Yeah.
Well, dude, Cologne's just so one-dimensional, man, and it's hard because especially like with their defense, I'm spacing on the name of the guy who it is on their defense. He's like their outside linebacker that's really good, and as soon as teams are like, oh yeah, that guy keeps hitting the shit out of all of our best players, we're going to go to the opposite side of the field. Then that's wwhenever the second half, they just put up a shit ton of points, man. Like they've got one player on defense. Yeah.
Cologne's another team that I hate to watch. Like they're just,
it is an ugly brand of football.
Yeah.
I thought the German football teams were supposed to be good. They're 1-3. No, I know.
Well, when there's 7 of them,
No, yeah. A lot of talent is split, and it all goes down to recruiting.
I want to see who this Cologne person is that I'm thinking of right now.
Oh, whose coach got thrown out? Was that?
Oh, the Panthers. I still don't even know what happened. There was a play, and then there was a flag. Then the officials got together for like 5 minutes. I was scrolling through Twitter just aimlessly because I didn't know what was going on. And they came back and they're like, personal foul. Assistant coach of the Panthers, he has been ejected from the game. And then that was it. And then they just went back to playing football. And they just showed him like walking into the tunnel. And then he came back out of the tunnel and was just like standing at the edge of it for a couple minutes. And then that was it. Didn't say anything. I don't know what happened. Probably was on the field during the play or touched a player or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was right after a huge sack too. It was like 3rd and like 20 or 2nd and 25 or something like that, or 3rd and 25 or something stupid. And then we got a free first down out of it. So
yeah,
nice. Thanks, assistant coach.
It is, what is his? I'm trying to find his first name.
Elpedia?
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to the European League of Football's like actual like the rosters that they have. His last name is Fielder. I'm just trying to find his first name just so I can give him the credit that he deserves. But Eric Fielder. Yeah.
There you go. Good work.
Wait, no, they're saying he's a running back. Eric Fielder is not a running back. I'm looking at a defensive player right now on these stats.
They have nobody named Fielder on.
I just looked it up and it said Fielder.
Oh, Luis. Number 55.
Fielder.
Yep. Luis Fielder, inside linebacker from Germany.
Okay, so they're inside linebacker. Forgive me, but yeah, no,
he might play outside. He's
the only competent defensive player that they have, and he shows out in the first half, and then every team has gone, let's stop running in his direction, let's stop throwing in his direction, go the opposite end of the field, and then they put up a shit ton of points on that.
Did you say Fielder or Fiedler?
I think it's Fiedler. I see.
Yeah, there's a DL. It's DL.
Okay.
Number 55.
Yep. DLER.
Fiedler. Got it.
Yes.
But yeah, shout out to the boy Luis. It's my guy.
Luis.
Yeah.
Ooh. I just saw a running back name that if
He's German.
yeah, he's homegrown. But if Frankfurt picked up Madre London as an e-import,
Things would get spicy.
ooh, that would be exciting.
I still feel like that doesn't fix all of their problems, though. But it definitely
Fixes their rushing game. And you have a quarterback that can throw the ball 80 times if you need to. Mix him in with Madre London. Oof. Some team needs to sign me as a GM.
Bro, we just need to own our own team, the three of us. It'll be great. I'll do recruiting. Danny, you can be in charge of player personnel. Tanner, you can be the coach. And the three of us will just dominate the league, and it'll be great.
Can we bring Matt and Alex in as scouts as well?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, please. What do you mean?
You guys just got to let me have a left tackle.
Absolutely.
For the love of God, we're
Dude,
gonna do that. Give me one of the U.S. imports at left tackle. I don't care if we have a shitty receiver.
Our wide receiver one's about to be Jordan Bois.
Yeah.
No, listen, I will be on every Polynesian island. You won't even need an A tag.
You know what, Jordan? You don't want Jordan Bois, homegrown talent from Italy, playing in Venice?
That's also fine. We can have a import running back. It doesn't really matter. But I'm just saying, I will get you an offensive line.
We'll probably need an A import quarterback.
That is a good point. We can just hang out in Tonga and Samoa and Fiji, and that line's gonna look crazy.
Oh yeah, oh my God.
All 5 E imports on the line.
I got you, dog. I'll be out there. Be recruiting straight from their rugby team. Oh man. Well, cool. Any last thoughts about this upcoming slate of games? Anything?
I still just enjoy this league.
Me too.
Shout out Matt for giving us a shout out.
Yes, shout out Matt. It's Bressington, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Shout out the homie from the UK, Matt Bressington, for giving us a shout out. Really, he's a great journalist on his own, but really, I just want to give him a shout out because he gave us a shout out, not because he's an incredible journalist. And before we let the listeners go, we do have some. I'm not going to say who. Well, we got some really exciting interviews lined up.
We have a busy week.
The three of us on our national holiday, the 4th of July, which in America is a big deal, and we all get to be off of work except for Tanner.
No, I get to be off work on the 4th.
Oh yeah, it's tomorrow. You have to do the interview during your shift.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. But yeah, we're all just so y'all know how important this holiday is. We're going to be working. We're going to be interviewing folks.
We're taking 3 hours out of our national holiday.
Probably longer than 3 hours. Or at least for me, because I have to edit the episodes. But
yeah, that's true.
So yeah, we're going to be skipping out on our lake day and shooting off fireworks and all the fun stuff because we've got some badass interviews coming up. Super excited for it.
I agree.
So, well, cool.
Stay tuned.
Y'all have been listening to the 4th Down Fiasco. Again, we ask that you rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We are absolute sluts for those 5-star ratings.
Yeah, we are.
I'll send you pics if you give me a 5-star rating. So you can also follow us on social media. I really derailed myself there. You can follow us on social media at 4th Down _ pod on Twitter and at 4th Down Fiasco on TikTok and Instagram. But with that, this has been Tanner, Danny, and Jordan saying until next time.
Please, Milano go 7-7 so Jordan has to buy a shirt.
Or give us a Team Venice. That'd be cool too.
Yes, give us Team Venice. See y'all.
Peace.
And I'm gonna keep doing them both because they make me feel good.